At the beginning, monkey on my shoulder was telling me, oh, poor little Jay, I ain't gonna do this. Do you know what? I decided to battle that. And for me, is for the people that are going to inspire. And I did it for them. So I started with mindset. This is how I did it. Without the mindset, I wouldn't be where I am. And then give them a lot of tools, because I'm quite a detailed person. If you have those clear goals and clear vision, you get whatever you want. But you just got to be committed and spend the time. So I got this job. I'm very driven and very passionate. You know, I used to love civil engineering. You know, it was amazing to be able to improve people's lives and all this sort of thing. I did highways, I did bridges, a lot of things, very interesting stuff. Until one day I was basically at home, bored, and I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Right? Working for someone else, fulfilling someone else's dreams. This is the time now to do something else. My ultimate goal was...
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Diaries of Success. I'm your host, Hajar Beyaz, and we discuss everything that has to do with successful people in this podcast. We make sure that we bring the best of guests so that we can share all their journeys, how they got to success, how did they start, how they got to throughout all the struggles in their journeys. Well, my guest today was previously a very well-earning chartered civil engineer. He's now a very successful developer. So you might be asking, what made him change the course of his career? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today in this episode. And without any further ado, I'm pleased to have Mr. Jay Munoz. We call him the Essex Colombian. Jay, you just came from court.
I have, yeah. And incidentally, first of all, thanks ever so much for having me here. I love sharing my journey, hopefully to inspire a lot of you listeners, because that is what it's all about, right?
Correct.
It's about inspiring people. So thanks ever so much for having me today, first of all.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been one of those days, funny days. So I've been a landlord for a number of years or decades. I've never been to court, trying to beat the tenant, but today was the day. I thought, I'll go there, learn as much as I can, and I share my experience. So that's what I did. As soon as I got out of court, I did a live in Instagram and I shared what I learned. It's always about sharing our journeys.
That's how I found out, actually. I was watching your live and I was like, oh, that's something great to discuss, you know. So what happened?
Right. Okay. So, well, I bought a flat on my old days while I was still working as an engineer. Started my property journey several decades ago, but I started as a hobby first. Yeah. So I started buying properties, leaving a lot of the deposit in, but accumulating as many as I could my own way, because I stopped learning. So I bought this flat in Woolwich, really well located. I knew all about Crossrail, being an engineer. So I got my hands in one unit just before the Crossrail was announced, and guess what? You know, exponentially grow. So I've been having tenants ever since, but on this occasion, I had one of those tenants that's been quite difficult. I did try to help this person during COVID. I was, helping her as much as I could, coming up with solutions, and she started paying some rent back, some arrears back. But then she started ignoring our phone calls and so on and so forth. So I had no choice but to evict her. So today was basically the court hearing. So I paid a really good company to do that for me. Always leave it to the professionals, my best advice. So we went through all the paperwork, everything that had to be done to get a successful outcome, and we got there in the end. So yeah, I was there this morning basically with that person that took me through the whole thing, being in front of a judge and then hearing the whole thing, and have now got 14 days. That person has got 14 days to leave the flat, and so I can get a new tenant in there.
How long was the process for this whole thing?
Yeah, the process basically started. Once again, the tenant was in arrears, £7,000 in arrears. So once they're in arrears, at least 2 months, then you can start the eviction process. Yeah. So you could do it by yourself. Okay, you can do Section 8, Section 20 by yourself, but I strongly advise you to get someone else that know what they're doing. Okay, one of the shares this morning was that initially I trusted someone that was recommended by me, but someone else, sorry, And this company didn't know what they were doing. They give me sort of red lights, asking me questions. I'm like, "Well, you're the professional. Why are you asking me questions?" Sort of thing. So I decided to dig in a little bit further and then find another company that was a professional recommended by one of my mentors. And when I spoke to them, and obviously they basically said, "Look, we could do it, the whole process for you.
Yeah.
We take it from here till till you recall. We support you." And it was plate sailing basically, and it wasn't that expensive. To be honest with you, the whole thing for the service that I've got was not that expensive. So yeah, they helped me throughout. They did all the paperwork for me. And here we are. We've got the flat back, and then in 14 days I can
Well
get a
done.
new tenant in that property.
Well done. I can relate to some of these cases, especially after COVID. There's so many
Yeah.
people who couldn't afford, and then the court was closed. There was
Yeah.
nothing to do. It was really horrible.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
luckily, after you learn your lesson, you know exactly who to have in your property. But well, things can still go wrong sometimes. I'm having a situation right now where this tenant was all fine, amazing. During COVID, I think she lost it. She became really, really sensitive to everything, and it started affecting her mental health. And 2 or 3 months ago, she stopped paying the rent. So now we're with the antisocial behavior team, and everyone's in the building is literally just complaining about her.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So
Yeah.
I know how sometimes dragging
Mm.
one tenant can be. Your whole business just
Yeah.
depends on that one tenant.
Yeah.
Not because obviously the monetary value, but it's your energy,
Yeah.
the efforts you put.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to
Yeah.
balance that. But at the end of the day, it's what a lesson to be learned about everything. Sometimes they're expensive lessons like these ones.
Yeah.
But if you look at it just on that unit itself, the
Mm.
fact that I bought it at such a good time,
Mm.
and I made an amazing the profit
Yep.
when we bought it,
Yeah.
it just pays for so many voids. So you need to look at the big picture sometimes.
True.
Obviously, as I said in one of my books, Property Metamorphosis, you got to do diligence on every single road. It's a microeconomy. I knew that property where it was located, it was an up and coming area that it was going to yield to me in the future, and I still have that property. To be honest, even though it's a single let, I'm pretty much cash flow as a multi-let when it's rented. So it's a
Wow.
great asset.
And what was the lesson you learned?
What are the lesson?
Yeah, you learned from this.
Right. So apart from the fact that get the right people to do the evictions for you, the other sort of expensive lesson is the communication with the tenant. When you do the communication with the tenant, they cannot really afford the rent, and they're not up in front with yourself, honest with yourself. Just think and say, look, no, you cannot really afford the rent.
Yeah.
What if I just give you your deposit back?
Yeah.
Find a different place, and then we call it quits. Yeah. If I had done that, right, several months ago, I would have my property now, all right, and I wouldn't probably lost half or even less than what I lost now. I lost about 9,500 with no rent. So if I have done that at the beginning, saying, look, settle with them, give you deposit back, yeah, find another property, that would have been easier. So for all you listeners, don't get into the court thing because it takes too long. You end up paying a lot of fees, and it is, as you said, energy. You don't get your time back.
Wow.
So sometimes you gotta make those decisions at the right time. So if I went back, I would have done that.
Yeah. Have you had a situation where tenants to take advantage of you?
Yes, and it's hard. I'm all about sharing as much as I can, right? So in our old days, we supported Culture Say Homeless Shelter. Because we thought, well, it's with our core values. It was my core values, and it's local, so then let's support them, right? So this organization does a great job. They give shelter for people that can't afford it.
Yeah.
And actually went there myself and made some food for all these, a few of the people there. And I met remarkable people there that were in a difficult place. They couldn't really afford it. And it was great that they had this this amazing help. So then the manager came to us and said, look, what if one of these people that are guests here rent one of your properties? What do you need? And I said, oh, well, as long as you think they're fit for living and sharing with other professionals, by all means, send them over. And she did that. So she sent us about 3 or 4 people. So we took them on board. Sadly, the worst decision ever. Because as you said earlier, some of them flipped, the majority, 3 out of the 4 flip. And they went back into their old habits of, drugs, stuff like that. And it was hard to, to kick them, even some of them without even the police, was struggling, right? So you kind of feel really disappointed, isn't it? That you want to help and contribute and guess someone else in need, obviously, in tremendous need, but then they pay you that way.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Sad and hard, but lesson learned, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think if it doesn't come with some of the obstacles, there's something wrong about it. There's always something to learn out of these situations.
Absolutely.
And as much as you have someone guiding you or supporting you or showing you how to do it, you still have to go through some hiccups yourself. And that's what makes you stronger. And that's what defines the people who are going to quit from the people who are going to continue and, still see it as a lesson and just move forward.
Agree.
So, we did say that you are called the Essex Colombian. Tell me about that.
Right, Essex Colombian. Oh, yeah, long story. How much time we got here? So I arrived in Gatwick Airport with a bag full of dreams, and that was it. Yeah, 2000. I decided that I wanted to learn English. I did civil engineering in Colombia. I wanted to improve, and do an MSc in Florida, in fact.
Okay.
But then once I landed in this tropical island, I decided that this was the place for me to stay, to flourish, and settle. As when I got to once I was here. So I decided, not to go back to Colombia. My initial aim was to do an MSc, go back, set up a business there. But once I was in the UK, I thought, well, it's a great country. You create opportunities. At the beginning, I had no choice but to get a visa, work permit visa, to get a job, and that's exactly what I did. When I was doing my MSc, I sent about 30,000 CVs because I knew it was a numbers.
Wow.
Numbers.
The numbers game.
Absolutely. I put myself a target. Did really well at the interviews. If you think about it, being an engineer at the time when I finished my MSc, I had to compete with British engineers and EU engineers, and then you come third. So you have to just be outstanding to be able to get a job. And also because I asked for installments at the university, then I could then graduate, because what happened was I had only some money to pay for my fees, and I went and spoke to them. I said, look, I haven't got enough money. What can you do? And they said, okay, you can pay a small amount every month. How much can you afford? And I'm like, 20 quid. I was like, no, you can. You need to pay more. So it was 250 quid a month. But then when I finished the first year, I still owed lots of money. And I was like, God, how am I going to pay this back? So I had to make it work. So it was, I said to myself, I need to send as many CVs as possible to all these companies. I need to be well prepared for the interviews and get a job. And one of the happiest days of my life, hopefully a lot of people will relate to this, being a foreigner, is when I got a phone call from the headhunter. And he said, Jay, guess what? You just got your 5th offer, and you just need to pick and choose. And I was like, this movie, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Absolutely. I love that movie,
When he went out, after they told him that he got the job, that he just
cried.
Speak.
Yes.
That was me. I was like so grateful.
You must be
then
kidding.
A big, massive weight over my shoulders just was taken away, that I was able to stay in this country for starters, and then be able to pay for my MSc, So that was one of those moments that I still remember as it was yesterday, and forever grateful. Then what happened was, so got this job. I'm very driven and very passionate. I used to love civil engineering. It was amazing to be able to improve people's lives and all this sort of thing. So I enrolled with a company, a consultancy company. I did amazing projects. I went into the Dominican Republic. I worked with the Dominican Republic. I did highways, I did bridges, a lot of things, very interesting stuff. Until one day, I was basically at home, bored, I remember vividly, and I decided to go for a run about 8:30 in the evening. Yeah, weird. Okay, so I saw this guy running in opposite direction, and I thought, somebody in my core said to me, "Go and speak to this guy." So I said, "Do you mind if we just run together?" And he said, "No, not at all." So we started running.
That was brave.
Yeah, chatting about life, and then the guy at the end of the run said, "You like reading?" And I said, "Yes, I'm an avid reader. I love reading." He passed me a book. Honestly, I couldn't put the book down. It's one of those books that gives you that Satori moment. Are you familiar with Satori moments in your life? When your past, your present, and your future gets aligned. That was it. Reach that, put that, give me that moment. And I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Right? Working for someone else, fulfilling someone else's dreams. This is the time now to do something else.
Yeah.
And
In my
then-
head, I was thinking that must be Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah. Then that was it. I was like, my head was spinning with ideas. What do I
Wow.
do? What, and obviously being an engineer, at the time, obviously civil engineer, I've done a lot of projects using someone else's money. I thought property is the way. So I spoke to my other half at the time. She was doing a PhD, and I said, we need to do something about this. Yeah. And she went like, okay, let's enroll. So we enroll into a property course that taught us how to purchase HMOs, manage HMOs.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was 100% mortgages. I wish I bought more. I bought only 3, with none of my own money. But then I stopped learning. I don't know why. Because I set myself a target to be a business owner once I read the book, but I was procrastinating. Perhaps I can, I wanted to get chartered first, and that was my excuse at the time. Yeah. So then when I got chartered, and here's the thing, it probably relate to a lot of you listeners, when you're uncomfortable in a job, when you see your bank account every month getting good money in, you just like in a sort of safe place, and you want to stay there. So this is what happened. So I got
Comfort
chartered.
zone.
My company said, all right, you are chartered now. Here is more responsibility. Here is more money. But guess what? More hours. So, I used to work from leave home about 6 o'clock down to London. I was working in the city, coming up very late with no energy. So that's one of the things I'm thinking, no, this needs to stop. Until I set myself a target. I'm going to quit my job within a year. And that was it. When I hit my deadline, that's it. And I had a very supportive wife, and she said, "You're better than that, Jay. Just go for it." And here I am right now. I made the decision almost 8.5 years ago, and the best decision ever. It's honestly has utterly transformed my life, my family's life, and a lot of people that we have helped life, which is for me best thing ever. Being able to touch so many lives in my journey.
I'm glad you said that, because I just wanted to ask you about the charity you started.
Sure.
I think it was that with Assets for Life you started it.
Yeah.
So just so you know, just so our audience knows, you're a co-founder of Assets for Life with Liam Ryan.
Yeah.
We've had Liam in the studio as well.
Awesome.
It's amazing to see both of your journeys. It started from scratch and starting from zero. It gives me hope, and all our listeners as well.
Anyone can do this.
So tell me a little bit more about the charity you're running.
Sure. Okay. So I'm a firm believer that the more you have, the more you should give. Okay.
I'm
So
glad
once,
you said that.
sorry?
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. So once I was in a position to give, because you need to see selfish at the beginning to be able to give back. Then I thought, right, what can we do to help people that are really massive need in the UK and back in Colombia? Okay. So back in Colombia, I basically did before my Access for Life days, I used to support a lot of orphanage. Still supporting the students that don't have any money basically, and they go to public universities and stuff. I'm just still doing that. But then I wanted something more meaningful, right? I wanted something more like, that we can all help as a family, and as I call it, the AFL Familia. So one day that we took to the team to the British Grand Prix as a sort of a thank you for all the hard work, I said to the team, look, we need to do something meaningful here. Why don't we? I came up with the idea of doing a calendar, semi-naked calendar. Why don't we just do a calendar and start raising money so then we can help families back in Colombia? And how that came about was that I knew someone back in Colombia for a number of years called Professor Carlos Ariel. He's a civil engineer. He's been working as a civil engineer and as a professor at a university. And he always been in doing charity, helping really the Prav communities to build their own houses.
Yeah.
So I pinned him down and I said, Carlos, I want to work with you. Okay. What can we do together? And he said to me, Jay, this is music to my ears, right? I've been working for all these organizations in Colombia. It's called Techo para Mi Colombia for a long time. But what it is there's a lot of management, right? So a lot of the money that they raise, they do great stuff, but it goes to management. So I said to Carlos, that's great, but what we want to do is every penny that we raise, or every penny that we donate, we just give it to the end users, okay? And he said, great, by me. So he said, you bring the money, I'll do the project management, okay? And I do the structural engineering design and everything over here. And that's what we agreed, right? So we were going to raise the money here, we're going to send it there, and so then the families could build their own houses, yeah? So we started with the semi-naked calendar, and it's part of our visions as well to do at least one charity event a year that is challenging physically, so people can take part and can donate. And every single penny that the people donate, we double it. And in fact, we have paid more than we have received ourselves. Wow. And also my own, out of my own money, I top it up when it's needed. Yeah. So we help these families, and the only condition that we give them is, as soon as they feel that they can give back to someone else with their time or money, they do the same. So it's like a pay forward chain. And the first family that we help, it's beautiful to see. When we came to do the second house, they were there every single weekend helping them, And then similarly, the second family with the third, and so on and so forth. So we created sort of a chain of love, let's say.
Wow.
And to me, those projects that we have managed to achieve as a family are, the best projects, the best developments. If you ask me, what are the best developments you ever done? Is those, because it was helping someone else in need that used to live in a cardboard. They have no toilets, that sort of thing. So that sort of level of poverty,
Well, you just made me think of the movie Paid Forward.
Yeah, that was it. I got it from that.
And we live by that as well.
Yeah.
And there was something created here in this studio that from the first episode, our first guest, TJ Atkinson, I don't know if you know TJ, and he was talking about how he could help someone with their energy cost for £300, and they just donated that. And then it happened where I said, you know what, I'm just gonna match that.
Awesome.
And what you've done, you've got £300 from this podcast. We're gonna raise £300, so that's £600. And then I had another guest, and it just happened that we were talking about this topic, and he said, you know what, Hadra, I'm just gonna match that same thing. So it became £900. Awesome. And it's just going on and on and on. And it's just amazing to see that just because little actions, it just grows. And a lot of people who can't really afford to pay for the energy, cost of living crisis, everything is going up, inflation, all these issues that we can contribute. And sometimes with little steps, we don't feel how little things can become big. So thank you for just starting the charity and providing all these homes to
pleasure. I haven't done it by myself. It just came with the idea and executed. That was all. But it's thanks to all the family, AFL family that have contributed and made this a reality for them, for those families over there.
I'll try to get some clips as well, and you can just put them in this YouTube as well, so people know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can see some pictures. That's no
Yeah.
problem.
If any of you wants to donate as well, why not? Just reach
Yeah.
out and
Yeah,
you know exactly where the money is coming to.
absolutely.
So tell me now, because I know that's an addictive feeling you have, helping others. You're mentoring now, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a mentor and so passionate. One of those things I just see it very simply, right? In society, the top doctors, nurses,
Yeah.
health practitioners that keep us healthy mentally and physically at the top,
Mm.
the most honorable job ever, right? Then second is a teacher that gives you the book, gives you the knowledge,
Mm.
pass on the knowledge for you to change your life for the better. And I couldn't be more proud to just help other people.
Well, you know
Being able
what?
to.
Forgot to tell our audience. You were actually one of my first mentors
Oh,
in
really?
property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you and Liam. I mean, that's how I learned how I got into property.
Amazing. There you go. And then you're interviewing me now.
There you go.
Fantastic. Love it.
So I'm thankful just because I learned from someone who's really, really knowledgeable and kind-hearted. And when the hearts do connect as well,
Yeah.
it's very important to learn from someone who's genuine, someone who wants to give, someone who wants to share.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being who you are.
My pleasure. My
So
pleasure.
what type of mentoring you do?
Right. So property is our bread and butter. Having done several £1 million worth of developments now. We started small, went into commercial conversions and now into land developments. So we do teach that, how to buy small properties, double the asset value, refinance, and repeat BER formula.
Yeah.
That is like, there's a no-brainer for me.
Mhm.
I wish I knew this formula before. I was doing it the slow way, but now I can teach the fast way. So we do a 3 days boot camp where we can teach everything
All
about that
strategies.
formula, how to finance, how to find the sites, how to point main contractors, how to point designers, and so on and so forth. And then, we're heavily into commercial to residential conversions. For me, one of my passions as well is relatively low risk if the shell is in a good condition. We are massive need of housing in this country, 300,000 in fact a year, and only 2018 we built 130. Only on that year, 70,000 short, because the huge demand.
Wow.
There's not enough stock, no brainer, so there's a lot of properties out there that you can convert into homes.
Wow.
And they make really good more money. But we also do land development, so we buy plots of land, bought a few already with our students that come through the academy. That's what we offer too, because the reality was like when I was mentor in my old days, 8 years ago, that I started heavily into property. I paid a mentor that was ahead of me, £25,000, the best money ever. I came to him and said, "Look, I've got all of these deals," and like, no interested. And I was kind of, what? Why? Really? The numbers stack, but he was no, that's not my area. Fair play. But what I said to Liam was like, no, look, if we're training all these people to find these deals that are not easy to get, why don't we just join a venture with them? So that's what we have done. So a number of students came with deals, and we have done deals with them, and we have all profited and all learned from the lessons.
And it's a win-win.
Say it again?
And it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what it was all about, creating win-win for all.
Yeah.
And it's also not about just the money.
Yeah.
Because if you chase the money, Haja, the reality is you ain't going to get it. All right. You need to chase the service. Okay. You need to chase is the actual journey too, and be grateful for that journey,
Yeah.
That is not rosy, but is an amazing journey.
It is indeed. Well, look, we have a mantra in our podcast is we like to play games with our guests.
Why not?
Yes. So I've prepared a set of questions for you. It's going to be a quick fire round.
Okay.
Questions. Would you rather? So this
Go
or that.
for it.
Yeah. So I want you to answer very, very quickly.
Okay. Try.
Okay. And then after that, we'll come back to the questions and see why.
Okay.
Well, before I jump into the game, I would like to remind you that the Diaries of Success brings all the best of guests. But for us to bring the best of guests, you have to let us know who you like. Who do you want to see in this show? Who do you want us to interview? And that also will be helpful if you could support us. Give us a like, comment in the video down below. Follow all our social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. We're on there. So it will be great to hear from you. It will be great to see you and interacting with our social media as well. Well, without any further ado, let's jump into it. So, Jay.
Okay.
Property or civil engineering?
Property, 100%.
Land development or commercial conversion?
Oh, God. Land development.
I
Complicated.
Money or family?
All the way, family.
I knew you would say that. £1 million or 1 million followers?
1 million good followers.
Good followers. Okay. Colombia or the UK?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Colombia.
Oh!
Hard one.
Okay. YouTube or writing books?
Writing books.
Writing books. £10 million or going back to when you were 6 years old, knowing everything you know right now?
I take the 6-year-old, everything I know right now.
No, £10 million?
Nope. I can make that. I have.
Singing or dancing?
Dancing. Dancing for sure. I haven't got no ability to sing. I can sing in the shower, but that's it.
Yeah, I've seen you dance, Jay. You can't dance to save your life. But okay. Thank you so much. That was a quick
Pleasure.
one, but
That's good. I enjoy that.
I enjoyed your answers as well. So you said land development rather than commercial conversion.
I'll tell you why. Because they are more challenging. Yeah.
Is it not because of the money?
You could make money in both. Easier to make money in commercial to resi, to be honest. Less risk involved. But I mean, it's a lot easier to build passive houses. I'm into passive houses, right? I'm an eco warrior, right? I'm an eco tree hugger, whatever you want to call me. I'm so passionate about sustainability. We just need to build body houses.
Yeah.
We just need to build passive houses that you don't need much electricity to heat. They produce zero carbon. In fact, I'm living in a passive house myself that I built, and I'm carbon neutral, right? I don't pay any bills. In fact, I get paid.
You don't pay any bills?
No, I've got 28 solar panels. Yeah.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah. So that's why I chose the land developments, because it's a lot easier to build from the scratch a passive house than retrofit one. We're going to have to at some point, because if we want to meet the target by 2030 of being carbon neutral, we need to retrofit 28 million houses. Yeah. So that's like 4 seconds. Every 4 seconds, we want to retrofit one. But if you give me the chance, I'll just build from the scratch. Passive houses are a lot easier.
So you do have power in your house. We're talking.
I only use electricity that is generated.
You do have electricity in your house.
Of course. I generate my electricity by 28 solar panels, and I have 2 batteries that recharge during the day, so I can use it during the night. And then, in fact, I was doing the maths the other day. Put it this way: my house is relatively big, 600 square meters, right? That I built. It needs in let's say Christmas Day, we've got a family around cooking and all this stuff. You needed about 56 quid a day to power. Yeah. Now that I have the solars and the batteries, the other day I had a not very good day. I spent about £2 only in electricity. And when I have a good day, at least a sunny day, is that now that summer is starting, I got paid about 10 quid from the grid, and I charged my car for free, and I used to spend 110 quid pounds in petrol a week, and now it's free. The sun recharged my car.
We need to talk after this podcast. Definitely need to talk.
Yeah, it's great.
But you know what? I think this is a genius idea. Because I pay quite a lot. My house is not that big, and I pay about 200, like I would say about 150 a month.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
It's a lot of money.
It
It's a lot
is.
of money. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. So definitely needs to talk.
You need to get a copy of my book when I release it because I shared everything in there.
Yes.
That you can get your money back. I mean, I spent £15,000 in the solars, the batteries, and the inverters.
Yeah, but then in the
but
long run,
yeah,
if you calculate in the long run, it's
yeah,
all
you
worth
get your money
it.
back, and then it's infinite return afterwards, and you save in the environment too.
Beautiful, beautiful. You said Colombia.
Mm-hmm. That's hard. I'll tell you why. Yeah, I'm a football fan. Yeah, and it's deep in my core. I take football as like when I watch Colombia playing, I get nervous, sweaty, and that sort of stuff. But when I see England, yes, I support England all the way, but it's not the same. So I went with my core, with my gut for that. And obviously, I was born there, raised there. My family's still there, and I'm attached to that beautiful and amazing country. It's stunning as well. So I'm proud to be Colombian all the way too.
Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. Cool. You said property over civil engineering.
Civil engineering is a way as well to help and contribute to society tremendously, building roads, sustainable homes, and all this sort of stuff, airports, you name it, which is great, give you a lot of personal satisfaction. But property has tremendously changed my life for the better. It's giving me the opportunity to create businesses and now employed people, so bring bread to their tables. I'm able to help other people, teaching them, all the strategies. And I live the life of my dreams. I mean, I don't know what the definition of success is for you, but for me, really, I thought about this long. And for me, success is as simple as creating a life or creating a reality that you cannot wait to wake up to. Okay? And I live in that life now. I created that reality now. So every single day that I wake up and I think, oh my God, and live the life of my dreams, and it's stunning. I used to pray for Fridays. Now it's the same as a Monday, same as a Sundays or any day.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, technically, I can resonate with everything you're saying. And I'm also grateful for living, waking up the time I want to, go in places I want to. I don't have to hand in my notice to go on a holiday or, it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
I'm
going to share something else as well on this subject, yeah? Things that I don't even thought about previously. Okay, so mom and dad have some health issues recently, yeah? For the last few years, during COVID, I have to float back to Colombia and look after them. Do you think any employer, even myself, I'm thinking, if someone else has to do this amount of work, go back, go away for several months, be happy with? No one will be happy.
Of course.
But because the reality that I created, I just took the first plane to Colombia. I looked after my mom and dad, poorly mom and dad, both in a row, pretty much. And I was also able, my dad sadly passed away last year in October. I was also able to go and look after him for his last moments of his precious life. And I was there for him,
Yeah.
Just the fact that I was there, not doing much, just being there for me was just like, I'm so in peace now.
Yeah.
Because I was able to do that now. I don't know if
any job would have given you that
flexibility, the ability to do that. And I never thought that would have been the case, but it was my experience. It's another thing that everyone needs to think about, especially when you got when you live, when your family lives abroad. God, what happens if,
that's the reason why I came to the US and the UK and not the US.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'm literally in the same situation, and I can 100% relate because the UK is maximum 3 hours away from Algeria. I also got the similar scholarship to go and study in the US instead of the UK.
Really?
So happens that I stayed here, but the first thing I was thinking, I'm like, what if something happens to my family back home? What if I cannot, like there is daily flights from the UK to Algeria, but there isn't from the US to Algeria. But actually, you have to stop over somewhere in order to be able to continue your journey. So there's always a what if.
Yeah.
And if I was in a job, I wouldn't be able to fly as many times as I want,
There you go.
visit them as many times as I want. It would have been really, really hard.
Mm,
So I can definitely relate with you, and I'm
yeah.
happy, you are at peace now because
Yeah.
you were able to.
100%. Yeah, I'm at peace, and I know that I did the right thing, being there for my family. It's like I was reading the other day. You sometimes need to realize that we are no human doings, but human beings,
Yeah.
and just the fact that you're there is enough. You know.
Wow, that was
Mm,
powerful. That
mm,
hits really, really hard.
mm,
We are human beings and not human doers.
mm,
Thanks for sharing that.
no problem. Mm.
Well, the next one you said, writing books.
Yeah.
Well, you're on your third book right now. Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit
So
more about it.
basically, at the beginning, monkey on my shoulder was telling me, "Oh, poor little Jay, you ain't gonna do this, right? So yeah, whatever." But you know what? I decided to battle that. And for me, is for the people that are going to inspire.
Yeah.
And I did it for them. So I started. My goal was my daughters, Carlotta, Luisa, and Antonia, to be proud of me
Mm.
when they are reach the age to when they think, God, but dad knows what he's talking about, yeah. And mom and dad as well, for them to be proud, yeah. And obviously my wife. But then it was for that person that is on that crossroads. What do I do? Still, I still warm here in a warm seat, selling my time and getting paid for it, or I go this way, when I basically making money work for me, my money while I sleep, to give them that Saturday moment. Yeah. So for me, that was my inspiration.
Yeah.
So Robert Kiyosaki gave me that Saturday moment, but what I wanted to give them with my second book was that plus a few tools. So in my book, Property Metamorphosis, that's exactly what I did. So I started with mindset, which is how I did it. Because without the mindset, I wouldn't be where I am. And then give them a lot of tools because I'm quite a detailed person. And I started writing that book with a target of 35,000 words. And then COVID hit, and I thought, no, I want to give back to my audience. And I basically wrote about 85,000 in the end. So it's a very, chunky book. I love a lot of information to absorb, but it's such a great. I mean, once you're in flow, I don't know you're familiar with this concept.
Yeah.
Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This book is amazing. I highly recommend it. Once you're in flow writing,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing what you can do when you set your mind to it. And I thoroughly enjoy it. And I thoroughly enjoy writing my third book now as well. So
What is it about?
passive houses. I had to share my experience because once again, land developments for me are what I really enjoy. So I wanted to basically share with my audience the fact that even you had Brexit, even you had COVID, you could build a high end property on a budget, right? Outside the box, doing outside the box strategies that I have used myself as an engineer,
Yeah.
thinking outside the box, and I just came out with a solution. So I will share a lot of things in my book, such as the fact that you can import materials. So I imported my staircase. The cheapest I got from the UK, cheapest quote was 40,000 just for a 3-story. Stupid money, to be honest. You think it's not made out of gold, So I basically spoke to one of my good friends in Colombia, Ricardo, and I said, "What can you do?" And he said, "I could do it for $8,000 and
Oh
put in a
my
container."
God.
And
That's like
then
a fifth.
absolutely. And then on that same container, I bought a material made out of coffee husk and recycled plastic for my decking. That is more or less third of the price, and obviously sustainable. And as a result, I started a new business called Green Savers. All right. That's one of our 4 core products, just to sell it in the UK. So I'm started an import business as a result, of that experience. Yeah. And in the book, I obviously expand on that. And proudly, now that I'm almost done with my house, is just below £1,800 per square meter. Yeah. For the people that are listening, that they know what I'm talking about, is unreal. Okay. Unreal to be a high end passive, because passive has another layer of complexity and obviously money. Yeah. than a high end, because
Wow.
it's a passive house. So that's what I want to give now. That's what I want to share with my audience now.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing. And I'll definitely, definitely get the book first minute it comes out.
Absolutely,
Definitely. 1 million you added good followers.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. But you know what? Like money, you can you can make, can you? Is what you become.
I th- you know what? I think in our position, we say we can make money,
Uh,
but not our listeners are in our position.
okay, they could be.
So many people that would have said 1 million
Yeah, of
pounds.
course. They could be in that position if they want. It's just a matter of taking action and making the right choices. Don't you agree?
I
Because
definitely agree.
money, if you think about it, comes and goes,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
absolutely.
Right?
Now that we have it,
But who
we
you
understand.
become in the process of achieving that money
Yes.
is what it's all about.
Is it
For me.
important to be a good person with money?
Is it important?
Yeah.
Essential. Essential, The more money we make, the more we should give back and help others. Don't you think? It's a circle, isn't it?
Yeah. And what's the myth about people saying money is the root of all evil?
Oh, look, money's a vehicle at the end of the day. All right?
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's all it is. Right? The real currency for me is time. If you think about it.
Mm.
All right? That is the real currency. What you do with it. What do you do awake, like now? That's what really matters. The relationships that you build,
Yeah.
The meaningful relationship. That's why I said good followers, all these good followers.
Yeah.
You can sell them into it. You can educate them, you can create joint ventures with them. You can win-win with them. You can have fun with them. But with the money in the bank account, then what? What can I do? It's £1 million in the bank account. What can I
True.
do with it? You know what I mean?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Ooh. I think we're getting a lot of gold nuggets with you. I'm loving this, Jay.
Me too. Thoroughly.
I think the last one. Are we? Yeah.
Sadly.
It was going back to 6 years old, knowing everything you know right now.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so I have no regrets, I must say, right?
Yeah.
I had a fulfilled life. I absolutely loved my life. I said to you earlier, I'm living that reality.
But
But there are a few things that obviously, if I was, if I knew what I know now, if I read that when I was at university, I would probably be in a different position. So applying knowledge is power. And I'm pretty sure that easily, if I applied all that knowledge then and acquired even more knowledge,
yeah.
I'd be in a different place. So that's the reason that I went for that.
And do you think it's too late for someone who is
Never.
at a certain age?
Look, this is the beauty of property, right? People think, oh, but you're a chartered engineer. Oh, but you clever and all this sort of stuff. I'm not clever. I'm not, don't need to be a chartered engineer to be in property. You just need the right tools. That basic arithmetic to do the analysis and stuff. Create relationships.
Yeah.
You all learn this, all of this stuff. So for me, it's it's a no-brainer. It's just one of those things that knowledge is power. If you get, obviously you have to have the desire, right, to make a change.
Yeah.
And commit to it, right? Be focused, laser focused, and they don't take notes for answers. I'll have this sort of stoic philosophy that I do have. I mean, what I follow for your listeners is, Marcus Aurelius had amazing phrases. He used to say, impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way for a reason. You need to reframe all these obstacles and be grateful for all these obstacles, because if you think about it, if you don't have all these obstacles, that would have been so boring, and then wouldn't be where you are. But those obstacles make you, doesn't it? The hardship. When you have an obstacle, that's when you kind of evolve. And there's another beautiful saying. You might know this already, but it's very simple. if you squeeze an orange, you get an orange juice.
Yeah.
Right? When if you squeeze a lemon, you get lemon juice. But when you squeeze a human being, you know, is what you get inside, positive or negative.
Yeah.
So in other words, you know, you're not made during a crisis, you are revealed,
Yeah.
aren't you?
And
think
even
about it.
diamond is made
Sorry?
under pressure. Diamond.
Yeah, 100%. So you need all of that. So yeah.
Well, yeah, well, there's so many people that say, "Oh, but I'm still going through a lot of hardships, but it's not happening for me."
I think for them, I think they just need to think and evaluate whether the reality, Hajar, is this, right? A lot of people are happy doing what they're doing. Like 9 to 5, they make them happy. And then, but you know, if they want to be an entrepreneur, they have to be, in my view, tougher in the sense of like, look, entrepreneurial journeys are not easy, right? You got to sacrifice a lot of things, right? A lot of things, especially your time.
Yeah.
When I wrote my second book, I had no choice. 4 a.m., right? I used to wake up. I didn't have to, but I used to wake up at 4 a.m., right, to do my Pomodoro technique. I went away 5 days, you know, to write the book.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't have to, but I wanted to. I was committed to, you know. So you committed, and then you clear with your vision where you want to be, and you have clear goals, quarterly goals. That's why I wrote my first publication, my IFA journey. If you have those clear goals and clear vision, you get whatever you want. But you just got to be committed and spend the time.
Okay.
And never give up.
Then I'm going to add another question, this or that, to this, since it literally just came to my head. So do you think you would rather have talent or commitment?
I think commitment, you know, there's a book called Challenge. It'll come back to me in a minute, but Talent is Overrated, I think is called the name of the book. I think it is about commitment more than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, anyone could become a genius at doing it 30,000 times.
Yeah.
And if you're passionate enough, you get there, you know. Yeah, there are certain things that, you know, I couldn't be a singer ever, right? Even though I spent 30,000 hours, but you got to be realistic, right? Something as simple as property, you know, investing in property, investing, you know, having clear strategies in property. Anyone could do that. You just get there and be a millionaire. Just simple as. It's just, you know, it's just commitment what you need in this one.
You have a signature.
Yeah. Kilonewtons.
It's in every message you send.
Yeah. I'm a nerd. That's right.
What is it? What's that?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to ask you.
It's an engineering
and I'm glad.
thing, yeah. Kilonewton is basically 10 kilonewtons is a ton, yeah? So it's like a tons of love, but in an engineering geeky way to say lots of love, but my way.
Ah.
Okay.
And what's the butterfly then?
Well, the butterfly, the caterpillar of the butterfly is the metamorphosis that I've been through myself. And that's why I call my book Property Metamorphosis, right? So that's why it's kilonewtons, liter of heart, caterpillar, and a butterfly.
Ah.
There you go.
Now I understand it. Oh, it's been bugging me to ask.
Good question. No one asked me that question before.
I'm different.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are.
Well,
Unique.
look, I'm enjoying this.
Me too.
Really, really enjoying this. But unfortunately, you don't have all the time in the world.
Of course, yeah.
So, last question.
Mm-hmm.
According to you,
Yeah.
what is success?
Right, success. Define success for me. It is related to what's, you know, to having or creating a reality, right? That you cannot really wait to wake up to. You know, whatever it is, you know, that's for me success. More than money in the bank account, whatever. It's just your own reality, creating a beautiful life that you could just wake up every morning and, you know, you think, wow, you know, I'm just having an amazing life. You know, I'm so grateful for what I have built. That's for me success. But obviously, you know, it's got to be also in line with my ultimate chief goal, which for me is living this planet better than I encounter it. So am I always striving or aiming to do that, to leave this planet in a better place? in line with my core values as a person, and living this reality that I can wake up, can wait to wake up to. That's success, for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How do we get in touch with you, Jay?
Right, you can follow me on Instagram, probably the most active platform. So it's JAY Munoz AFL. You can find me on YouTube. I do YouTube videos as well. I'll be sharing my passive house journey on YouTube a lot recently. Or you can buy one of my books, Property Metamorphosis, or listen to it for free in Amazon. It was Amazon bestseller, incidentally, so it's quite Facebook as well. We do a lot of Facebook stuff. And I'm also setting a new company called Green Saver, so I'll be all over it once it's all done and dusted. I'll share it with you listeners for sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for being with me on this interview, Jay. Who do you think should be on this podcast?
Who do I think? Right, you've got so many talented people out there. Dylan Dilachi, if you haven't had him.
We haven't yet, you know.
Yeah. Dylan is a legend. I just share so much synergy with him.
Do you know what?
Love him.
If I have Dylan, I'll just go, I'll exit, and I'll let
run the show.
Guys,
you'll have to do it. No, because he loves swearing, but he's a legend. Love him.
I love Dylan. Dylan, you're next. So thank you again,
My
Jay.
pleasure.
I'm definitely sure that you're gonna go and do wonders. So thank you for being who you are, and thank you for doing what you're doing.
No, I must say, very grateful that you invited me today and have this amazing chat. And for you listeners, guys, give property a go. Honestly, it would change your lives the better and the people around you. Do not hesitate. You can do it you can do it as a hobby, as I started, or you can do it full time like I did. But give it a go.
Thank you, Jay.
My pleasure.
But for everyone here listening, as you heard, it's Jay Munoz AFL on all different platforms. Until next episode, do not forget to live your best life. That was your host, Hajar Beyaz. See you next time.